Good morning, and we are live. Good Lord, it is beautiful outside. I hope the weather is just as good as where you are as it is here. I am telling you, it is a beautiful day outside. Hope your coffee's as good as mine. Hell, I hope it's better. Let's dig into this. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Our president is weak, old. He is politically wounded. He's got pudding for brains. This is a mess, folks, and it's a problem because the world doesn't stop turning. And, probably, I watched President Obama talk about this at one time. He said, I don't know everything. I'm not in charge of everything. I don't keep up with everything. I don't run everything. I have competent people around me. And he says, folks, let me tell you something. If it reaches my desk, it's a problem. It's a problem. That's what I do all day, is take care of problems. And that's the truth. It really is the truth. It's how an administration is supposed to be run. You have the president and the people around him are sailing along in his armada with the exact same agenda. They do what the president wants done. And if it becomes a problem, they bring it to him. You've got to have a competent president, folks. You can't have somebody with pudding for brains. You can't have somebody that is so old that they have lost their mind. And I'm not being ageist here. I'm not. I was a bulldozer of a human being. I could work all damn day in the hottest heat. It didn't matter. Didn't slow me down. I loved it. Loved it. I was a bulldozer of a human being when I was younger. I was a force of frickin' nature if you wanted to throw hands with me. These scars on my face, these are from youthful scars on my knuckles. These are youthful stupidity you're talking about. Yeah, I'm not that anymore. I'm not. I am just not. It's age is real. And you get to a point where you can't be the boss anymore. You just can't. It happens. It happens. It's not being ageist. It's not. It just happens. And Trump is gone. He is not running this government. And that is why the Republicans have tried. They tried really, and it had some traction in like the MAGA circles, but it never gained traction over to the independents or, Democrats never really talked about it, this whole auto pen thing and who ran the government when Biden was there, because it was clear Biden was running the government. Everybody was following Biden's agenda. Biden could talk to you about what was going on. He knew what was going on. Everybody was doing what Biden wanted. That is not the case anymore. You have people around Trump, everybody's just running their own agenda, doing their own shit. We have, and that's the central theme of the show, folks, is the United States used to be a leader. We didn't. We were a leader in the Western world, and we had influence all across the globe. That's over with Trump. That is over. Everybody is just... all the ships are sailing in their own direction, and there is no leadership anymore, and it's dangerous. And it's costing us. It's costing us. So let's dig into it. We've got three different things to talk about along those lines, and let's just dig into it. Jordan, can we start out with giving our thoughts and prayers to the farmers begging for socialist bailouts? All right. this is a community show. And folks, if you're watching this in replay, either go into the if you're on a phone, go into the comments and you can swipe and bring the live chat up. Or if you're watching on a PC, there's a little button down there in the corner there that says panel. Open that up. I'm telling you, this is a roundtable show. The audience is involved, and yeah, we can touch on that. Jordan, we can touch on that. Wasn't part of the show, wasn't a planned segment of the show, but yeah, it's definitely worth talking about. You know, I do what's called troll patrol. I've got large social media presences everywhere. I talk to we're well over 7 million people a month we're talking to in our community. And it's growing faster every day. In a couple of months, it'll be 10 million people a month. So I get regular comments on when people are thinking. A lot of people are like-minded, so you'll get tons of comments that are the same way. And that works with the MAGA trolls too. Because, you know, not only am I getting comments back, I also get troll idiots in mass also. And one of the things that they always like to say is that we're triggered. We're angry. We just hate Trump. And you get the thing. You've heard it all before. ET, are we great yet again? Who is really running things now? That's the question. That's the question we're going to answer today. You know, I thought about it. I did. I sat and I thought about it because now I'm not triggered, but what am I? What am I? What is this emotion that I'm feeling? And I will tell you, I've got, just like you, MAGA family. I've got MAGA neighbors. I've got MAGA friends, people that I used to consider friends. And I'm not even sure about that anymore. But what I'm feeling isn't like hate. I mean, there are people in this world I hate. I really do. But what's inside me isn't hate. What's inside me is, the only way I can sum it up is, I believe you. I believe you. You have tried and tried and tried to convince me that you're bigots. You tried and tried and tried to convince me that you're people of low character, that you hate your fellow Americans. And I believe you. I believe you. And what I'm feeling isn't hate. It's, I guess, sadness at the realization that such a large portion of our country is made up of people of such low quality. Because I wasn't raised to believe that. I was, we're all given a healthy dose of American exceptionalism. If you're raised in the United States, it is just part of what you're exposed to. And we don't like to believe that we're a country that has this many screwed up people in it. So yeah, to answer your question about the farmers, to tie that to the farmers. The first time you elected Trump, I thought you were ignorant. I did. I knew a lot of you were just bigots and bad people, but I thought you were ignorant mostly. The second time you elected Trump, I was forced to accept that what you were trying to tell me you are is exactly what you are. And sympathy left the chat. See, my people, I come from farmers. My family's up in Iowa, Wisconsin, that area. I've got family that are farmers. I do. And I've always been supportive of farmers. And I've always, you've heard me preach about, oh, well, we've got to produce over a billion pounds of food a day to feed people. And I've always, been very practical about, well, we've got to keep everything going, this, that, and the other. But, sympathies are really left to chat. And you voted for people that are bankrupting small to medium farms for the sole purpose of corporate farms being able to buy up your land cheap. And I'm having a real hard time talking about bailouts. I'm having a real hard time about saving your ass. So yeah, to answer your question, farmers, have the day you voted for. It's about where I'm at, and that's where most people I know are at. Stephen Leach, thank you. I appreciate you for being here to support the show. I really do. I really do. And I don't. And if you want to talk about me hating something, I hate that is where I'm at. I miss the old compassionate me that gave a shit. And I just, it's like this. Yeah, Stephen Leach, vaccine mandates gone in Florida, token idiot. Yeah. I used to be very concerned for your children. I used to be very concerned for the tragedy that things like that would cause. And now I'm just like, reap the whirlwind. And I hate that. I do. I hate that. I hate that. I really do. Randy, all the farmers are in the find out phase, bittersweet. Hope this leads them away from MAGA. I don't know. I don't know. We've talked about it before. It's their culture. It's who they are. It's like asking them to stop being themselves. Farmers, fool me twice, learn it, live it. Yeah. That's where most people are. I don't know. Are you folks there? That's where I'm at. I mean, it's not hate. It's just, okay, I believe you. You are who you are. You told me, okay. You didn't vote to go bankrupt. You voted to be a bigot. Well, bigotry's not free. Stephen Leach, Vance and Thiel own the company by busted farms. Yeah, these people are just swooping in. They're buying up your farms. It's not Democrats buying up your farms. It's those Republican donors buying up your farms. Oh, man, I tell you. Ooh, we're doing the flavored coffee this morning. Oh, by the way, I got the Kitty Town coffee that you sent. That was very, very generous of you. Thank you. That was a lot of coffee, man. That was a lot of coffee. I'm very grateful. Thank you. Mo, thank you for being here. Metal Rabbit, thank you. Reads, so no, I don't know what that means. Stronger. It'll help. I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. I think I know what you mean. I'm with you. But look, let's talk about this. Let's talk about what's going on because we have no leadership. You know, you've got Trump. He's Putin's bitch. Putin thinks he can do anything he wants. Putin can do damn near anything he wants because you've got in Europe, everybody acting like Neville Chamberlain. And the billionaires saying, well, you know, hey, the longer this war goes on with Ukraine and Russia, better it is for us. Better it is for us. You know, it keeps Ukraine's agricultural industry out of our European markets to a degree. Hey, good for us. The old Neville Chamberlain business will sort it out bullshit. They're going to pay for this. They are going to pay. It's not free, folks. That kind of shit is not free. Churchill was right. Churchill was right. He was right. Neville Chamberlain was not right. Yet we've got to learn this. We've got to learn this again. We do. We apparently just have to learn this again. Veggie Algro, you still give a shit. If you don't, you wouldn't be live streaming 3 days. That's true. That's true. That's true. That's true. I'd just shut up and let it happen, wouldn't I? But look, this just happened. Let's go to the map. This is right. I had this. Wairiki. Got it. Wairiki, Poland. This is Wairiki, Poland. Let's go to the map. I want you to have an idea of where we're talking about because it's important. This is Ukraine, Moscow, Belarus, and Poland in Eastern Europe. Where this pin is Wairiki, Poland. It is a small farming community. It is a small farming community. As you see, all the fields and pastures. This is what Wairaki, Poland looks like this morning. Yeah, that's damage from a Russian drone. That is damage from a Russian drone. That is, yeah, shit's gotten real. Shit has gotten real. And I just want to remind people what I have been saying in the past. Poland does not want to fight Russia in Poland. They want to fight Russia in Russia and Ukraine. They do. There are some Russian sympathizers. As with the United States, there's a spectrum of people in Poland. Everything from Russian sympathizers all the way to attack them now. We got to attack Russia now. Don't wait for it to happen. We got to do it now. Donald Tusk falls on the spectrum farther to the left in that spectrum let's get this kicking ass contest over with. Wendy Bauman, why can't the soccer team get their trophy back from Trump? Yeah, no shit, man. That guy's a psychopath. Actually, Article 4. It's a good question. Article 4. And I'm going to explain the difference here. Poland has filed with NATO for an Article 4 conference. Article 5, everybody is familiar with Article 5. That's the mutual defense compact that we have within NATO. We are the only nation that has filed for Article 5. The United States is the only nation that has filed under Article 5, and that was after 9/11 attacks. Article 4 is one step below that. It is one step below that. It calls for a conference of NATO members to discuss what a response should be. It is just below, okay, we're at war. It is just below that. That is what is happening. Exactly. Article 4 before Article 5. That is what is happening right now, today in Poland. They have filed for an Article 4 conference regarding Russia because shit has gotten too far. Trump is weak. Russia thinks they can do anything and get away with it. So they've started flying drones through Belarus. Belarus is a puppet state. They are a puppet state of Russia. It might as well be Russia. They've been flying drones to attack Western Ukraine. We saw, if you're a longtime audience of the show, we talked about the American factory in Russia in Ukraine, near the Ukrainian-Hungarian border that Russia was able to strike. It is by flying through, they had been flying through Western Ukraine to engage in those strikes with drones. Ukraine's gotten a handle on that. They're shooting the drones down. So now they decided willy-nilly, hey, Polish airspace doesn't mean anything. We don't give a shit that they're a sovereign nation. And they started flying from Belarus through Poland down to attack Ukraine near the Hungarian-Ukrainian border. And Poland has a problem with attack aircraft flying through their airspace, and they shot down. They've tracked 19 drones, and they shot down, I believe last count was 7, because this is still going on. This hasn't stopped. This is still going on. And I want to do a special shout out. It is incredibly important that we acknowledge our community here. I want to do a special shout out to our Dutch members of the audience, because it was NATO F-16s from the Netherlands with Dutch pilots that shot these drones down. So special shout out to the Dutch. We're already seeing NATO engaging here. And I will tell you, Donald Tusk wants in this. He does. I'm not going to bullshit you. Donald Tusk wants in this. And it was the Biden administration that kept Poland on track to say, look, no, let's be calm. Let's not expand this. Let's not. Poland's like, screw that. When they're done with Ukraine, they're coming here. We know it. We have history books in Poland. We know how this works, and we're not doing this shit again. The Poles are a warrior people all through history. If you ever get, I mean, really, if you ever get the history book, you will love reading about Poland. You will love reading about their history. You will love reading about their warriors, the hustlers. They're just, I mean, it's just, there's so much. I mean, these are a warrior people. They really are. And they're not sitting back and taking this. I can't stress to you enough the tension within that country right now, where you have people that are trying to say, let's stay calm. And then you have people that are already, no, let's do this. Let's go to war. Now put that in the format of Donald Trump is the president of the United States. Donald Trump is the president of the United States. He is weak. He is stupid. He is Putin's bitch. He's got puddings for brains. George Allen, yeah, this is serious business. Well said, sir. This is very serious business, folks. This is how, when you read in history books, like you read about World War I, how the hell could this happen? How could millions of people die over an incident that happens happened in Southeastern Asia, with the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand? How did that turn into a global war? When you read about that, it's this. It's this. It's things like this. And it takes intelligent people, capable people to manage these situations. And folks, everything, all of the pressure, Russia is marching us into a land war in Europe, Eastern Europe. They're pushing for it. They will continue pushing for it. Putin has been open about the fact that he wants to reestablish the old Soviet Union, but that's not going to happen without a land war in Europe. I mean, this is where we're headed. Christina Wynn, Kamala was right about everything. Yes, she was. She I've yet to find something where I said, oh, well, she didn't get that right. Oregon wine lady, great question, but why? The billionaire oligarchs are the people that pull the levers of power. They are. There are very few places on earth left where you and I get to influence things. And when we influence them, we have to do them in mass. We all have to stand at this. That's why I keep trying to get everybody, let's march in lockstep into this next election so that we can have influence. When it comes to just people having influence, the oligarchs have always pulled the strings. Always. In every empire, in every era in history, it's the wealthy that do it. It just is. That's just a matter of fact. That is happening again here. You have a bunch of billionaires in Europe and throughout, I mean, it's not just Europe, but it's primarily in Europe, that have said, this is what we want to happen. We want the war in Ukraine to last as long as possible. It's good for us. It's good for us in Europe. It is. If this drags out, it keeps Ukraine out of our markets because Ukraine is coming into Europe. It keeps Russia at bay because Russia is our geopolitical adversary. This is a good thing. These people never manage these situations. They always spin out of control. And that is what is happening here. That's why Churchill was so adamant about, no, we are not going to make peace with Mr. Hitler. We're not going to have a deal. That is evil. We fight evil. Those truths exist. Those truths exist. And the last people to see them are the oligarchs, because they're always counting their pennies. They're always counting their money and their self-interests. They're people like Henry Ford, who was, getting awards from Hitler, that loved Hitler, that thought fascism was great because it served his interests. Always that is the case. And we are watching a march to war because of that weakness and stupidity. A show of strength early will nip the shit in the bud. But greed is marching us down a very, very, very dangerous path. E.T., is this Putin's distraction answer for the Epstein files? I don't think so, brother. I really don't think so. He's playing a totally different game. He really could give a shit less about Trump or whether Trump goes down at this point. That damage is done. He's turned the animal loose here in the United States, and it's running wild. He has the Republicans doing openly all of that shit that they used to whisper about to each other in the back rooms. The cat is out of the bag. He doesn't need Trump anymore. That's why he's not just Putin, but other world leaders are just pissing on Trump publicly. Pouts is human. Feels like 1938. Agent Cajun John, what's your favorite coffee so far? Oh, man, that depends on the day, brother. I'm really loving it. We got the Kittytown Pumpkin Spice this morning. I will tell you, I do pumpkin spice year round, brother. I do. I love pumpkin spice. Fall is my favorite time of year. I never let it go. But Pete's has some great coffee. Then there's a couple local roasters. Stowe has sent me some coffee. Somebody sent me a French roast. I don't remember the brand on that. Honey, do you remember the brand on that French roast? That's when I want something that's a little bit more, man, it really depends on the day, brother. It really depends on the day. But yeah, that is happening, and we have to be on top of this. We have to be on top of this. This is why I'm telling you, folks, I will say this every damn show, so you just got to endure it. We have to elect Democrats in the midterm. We have to get grown-ups back in the room to handle these situations, because the amount of sheer stupidity and incompetence coming out of this administration is insane. It is insane. Mike Daly, Smedley Butler, war is a racket. There's so much. When you start breaking down the geopolitical machinations, always go to the money. Go to the industries and see what they did and push for. Mandolius, will Trump let us step up to the plate, or did he mean it when he said we're giving up our security obligations to Europe? The timing of that makes me suspect. Putin clued him into his drone plans for Poland yesterday. Here's my take on where Trump is on this issue. Yeah, he wants to give up our security responsibilities. He's selfish, self-centered all the time. It's all Trump all the time. He doesn't give a shit about what happens in Europe. He doesn't give a shit about world peace. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. One second, I'm taking care of something. Boom, there you go. Your both-sidism will get you kicked out of here. It will. It'll get you kicked out of here because it's bullshit. And I don't cotton to it, and I don't allow it. So, yeah, I just took that guy out. Look, Trump is always selfish. He doesn't have any interest whatsoever at all in living up to our obligations or doing work or anything that's hard or anything that, it's just his nature. But he also doesn't want to look like a wimp. He doesn't. He's all about his image. It's all a freaking television show. It's a reality television show. And this leads us into our next segment, which is a big freaking deal. You've got those two competing interests. He's lazy, stupid, and doesn't want to do anything and doesn't really understand geopolitical politics. And over here, he doesn't want to look like a wimp. And those things are competing in that situation. You're not going to get good policy out of it. You're just not. He's going to act like a tough guy until it gets hard, and then he's going to quit. Taco Trump, man. Spatial Dragon. Unfortunately, I don't know the distinct roles that Congress and the president play in war. Unfortunately, I don't know the distinct roles that Congress and the president play in war. Can you clarify? Yeah. Only Congress can declare war. Only Congress can declare war. But the president is granted emergency powers. He can engage in military activity without congressional approval, but he must immediately seek congressional approval. There's just a short time window in which Trump can't drag us into a war. The idea behind the plan, the design of it is to not have to wait to call Congress to session. Coming out of World War II and the attacks on Pearl Harbor, and we wanted to be able to respond immediately. You throw a punch, the second that punch lands, we're throwing a punch right back at you. That was the goal. And it's been, every president has pulled and pulled and pulled and pulled at that thread until it's gotten to the point where a president can damn near engage in, as long as the war doesn't get too big or get too expensive, Congress will sit on the frickin' sidelines. So, yeah, I mean, is it a big dust up, or a little one? That determines how it happens here in the United States. But look, this is something, man. This is really something. Just one thing after another with this, because they're just so weak and stupid. 1 second. Israel struck Qatar. Israel attacked Qatar. And the original response out of Trump and the Trump administration was, we don't know shit. They didn't tell us anything. They didn't want to be held responsible for that. They understand the optics of it. They understand where the sentiment in the country is. Everybody is sick of Israel's shit right now. I have been warning this. About this and warning about this and warning about this, because Israel has a left. They do. They have a left. Just like here in the United States, we have a left. And just because we Democrats are out of power right now doesn't mean we don't exist and we aren't still working. And I have been screaming to my Israeli friends on the left, guys, you have got to get loud and public about your opposition to things, because the sentiment against Israel is turning in the extreme. Everybody is sick of their they attacked Qatar. Doha, Qatar. And I mean everybody. The response to this, I mean, this is from Australia. This is Australia's version of NPR. I think I've got a headline up here from Australia. No, I decided not to go with that one. I don't have that tab up, but I was looking when I look at these issues and want to see what's going on, I go to other countries' press. I don't just filter it through the United States press, is because you can't, not if you're really going to understand things, because our press now serves in Trump's interest for the most part. You've got to go to the world press, and everybody's reaction to this attack has been, what the fuck? Everybody is done with this. They are. So Trump's reaction was, we didn't know shit. I wasn't responsible for anything. No, I didn't even know. And then he realized the response to that initial outlay was, okay, Israel's gone rogue. And then Trump's like, oh shit, I got to take care of my man, baby. I got to protect Israel. Well, okay. They informed me 10 minutes after. They informed me 10 minutes after. That was the next iteration. They informed me 10 minutes after. And I wasn't responsible. I didn't. It was all Israel. It was all them. They did it without me. And then Trump realized, oh shit, that makes me look weak. And it still leaves the original problem that the whole world is saying Israel went rogue and we got to do something. So they backtracked from that. Are you following me? We've had 2 iterations. I don't know shit. And now, okay, I knew just after it happened. But I didn't approve it and I didn't like it. Then the question started coming in. Well, you were on the phone with the guy. Why didn't you do something? And started getting the unflattering look that Trump is weak and stupid and out of control and nobody pays attention to him, which is the truth. But they didn't like that. So the third iteration is, because I mean, this is British news. This is from the Guardian. Trump appears sidelined as the U.S. caught unawares by Israel's unprecedented strikes in Qatar. Yeah, they didn't like that. And remember, this entire administration, the only way you can understand it is if you understand it is a reality TV show. It's not really an administration. They started to see these headlines coming out across the world. A similar one, like I said, I had one from the Australian Broadcasting Network, echoing the same sentiment. Trump's been sidelined. Nobody gives a shit. Netanyahu's running his own show. And the Trump administration said, that's not true. That's not true. I'm not weak. I'm not feckless. I'm not sidelined. And then Trump said, which is probably what is the truth, that they were told in advance. They told Netanyahu, we don't like this, but Netanyahu did it anyways. And we informed Qatar that the attacks were going to come. Which is closer to the truth, because if you look back at when Iran was going to Al-Udeid Air Base, Iran attacked us. This is the way it happened. Iran picked up the phone and they called us and said, we're going to lob missiles at your air base in Qatar. Then they picked up the phone and they called Qatar and said, we're going to be sending some missiles over your airspace. We're not going to hit any of your cities or anything like that. We're just going to throw them in the general direction of the American air base there. And Qatar said, look, we're trying to be Switzerland here. You can't be killing people. And they're like, oh, no, we're going to hit a parking lot. It's cool. We're not going to do any damage. And Qatar said, well, if you're not going to hurt anybody, okay, go ahead. Turns out this was the same damn deal. Israel picked up the phone and they called us and said, we're going to attack Qatar because they're Hamas terrorists there that we want to kill. They were supposed to be there for a negotiation to release hostages. That's what was planned there, by the way. So Israel calls us, we call Qatar, and we called Jordan. So Israel flew from, and let me pull up a map for you so you can see what we're talking about. Jordan, 3 words to sum up the Trump presidency. I don't know. It's just a clueless, perfect concept of a plan. Perfect. Ilstor 8500. Perfect concept of a plan. Let me pull up the map so that you can understand more clearly what we're talking about here. This is Qatar. This is Qatar. We'll back out. You can see the location. They specifically struck in Doha. And specifically, damn near in downtown Doha, in the central business district, is where this attack happened. This is Israel. Everybody said, what? How do you fly a plane from Israel to Qatar without going over Jordan and Saudi Arabia or Iraq or Kuwait? Right? People started asking these questions. How do you engage in this attack from there to there? Because folks, military intelligence is pretty clear on this. They know what weapon was used, and they have, with almost all certainty, know how it was delivered. This, logistics alone is they're able to deduce what happened. Well, Trump's come out and said, "Oh yeah, we knew, and we called Qatar and told them." Well, guess what the people of Qatar said? They're like, "What? You allowed Israel to strike in our downtown business district? You allowed Israel to strike people in our country?" Because remember, folks, Qatar has been billing itself as the Switzerland of the Middle East, man. We're where everybody comes to negotiate. We're neutral. We're not the bad guy to anybody. But Qatar, because now this is blowing back on them and saying, "Oh no, we didn't do that. We absolutely, oh no, we were never notified," which is bullshit. That is bullshit. What the White House is saying now, which is putting everybody in an incredibly bad position because they're just idiots. They're just idiots, is the truth. It is the truth. Israel didn't decide to fly from Israel to Qatar without letting everybody know. They just didn't. I mean, and right now Qatar is trying to spin this. Oh, we're going to hold Netanyahu to account for this, and we're tough and we're upset because the people are pissed. They are pissed. And out of the blue, without any prompting, you got to love this. You got to love this. Hold on. Out of the blue, without any prompting, Jordan releases this from their national news service. And again, you've got to go to people's national news services. You can't, if you ever, I have people all the time, "Paul, hey, I want to do what you do." Okay, well, fine. Stop reading American news and start reading news from around the country. This is Jordan's national news agency released this. Jordan condemns Israeli airstrikes on Qatar, denies overflight claims. All right. Let's go back to that map for just a second. Now I've got eyes. I have eyes. I can see where Qatar is, and I can see where Israel is, and I can see the borders. See the borders? If you're going to fly a plane from Israel, here's the southern border, to Qatar, you're going to fly over Jordan. You are. So Jordan can sit there all day long because their people are pissed off. Let me explain the dynamic in Jordan. The Hashemites that rule Jordan are the minority. They are. They're the minority in Jordan. They're not the majority. They have a massive Palestinian population in Jordan. And there's a lot of history there. We could do a whole show on that. And Jordan's people are pissed. They are pissed, just like the people of Qatar are pissed. They're like, I cannot believe you let Israel do this. And all of these governments are saying, when it absolutely happened. And everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. This is exactly how it happened. Israel said, we're going to kill us some terrorists. You're going to look tough, Trump. And Trump said, cool, go ahead. And then somebody with half a brain said, sir, we've got to let Qatar know this is going to happen. We can't just have a strike happen in downtown Qatar with no warning. That could start a war in the region, and that could be. And Trump said, well, okay, call them. And he had an underling pick up the phone and call them and say, look, you're about to there's about to be a strike in Doha. Lena Nicolaisen. Qatar will be the 11th war the Peace Prize president is ending. No shit, right? No shit. Dying Breed Garage. Paul, I try to stay calm and keep things in perspective, but it's obvious to Putin and Netanyahu that Trump and his administration are inept. They're both taking their shot, and it will force Europe to defend and equal World War III. I will tell you, it is going to take smarter. We're going to have to put Democrats back in power, or this shit is going to blow up. It really is going to blow up. If these people don't believe that there's some check on their power, that America is going back on the right track, this is going to blow up. It is. This is Trump's reaction to it. And I want you to keep in mind that the responses were, we didn't know shit. Then, we only knew 10 minutes after it happened. Then, we knew all along and we warned Qatar. Remember, the whole world, now not the American press just said, Trump's very upset. If you go back and you look at Reuters, one of our wire agencies, literally that is the story they're running, which is problematic because if you understand how wire services work, that means a bunch of smaller news agencies that don't have journalists and journalism budgets, all they do is pay Reuters for stories, are taking that Reuters story and they're running with it. Trump's very upset. This is Trump. This is what Trump said.
Israeli strike earlier today.
Well, I'm not thrilled. I'm not thrilled about it. I don't have to do that. I'm not thrilled about the whole situation. It's not a good situation. But I will say this: we want the hostages back, but we are not thrilled about the way that went down today.
Did he notify you in advance, Mr. President? Did Israel tell you in advance?
Let me pause that and just translate this for you, okay? What he just said there. We really thought we were going to look like badasses, and we were going to go get some hostages, and everybody was going to love us, and we thought we were going to be tough. And, everybody's pissed off, and I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like how this is working out. Netanyahu assured me that this was going to be cool. That's what that translates to, folks.
So you were caught by surprise, sir?
I'm never surprised by anything, especially when it comes to the Middle East.
How did you learn about this happening?
Trump confirms, yeah, I knew what was going to happen. Qatar's denying it. Everybody's denying it. Jordan's trying to deny it. These people are facing an uprising of their people and people pissed off in their home countries. Yeah, that's what they're facing. But here's Trump telling people, "Oh yeah, I knew."
I'll be giving a full statement tomorrow, but I would tell you this: I was very unhappy about it. Very unhappy about every aspect, and we got to get the hostages back. But I was very unhappy about the way that went down.
Translation of the last part, I'll make a statement tomorrow, is you'll never hear me talk about this again unless I absolutely have to, and this keeps blowing up in my face. But right now, I really don't know what to say about it, because on one hand, if I say that I didn't know, I look like a weak idiot. And if I do say that I knew anything about it, then I'm responsible for it, and I don't want to be responsible for it. This is what the world is seeing. This is not what our American corporate media is showing you, but this is what the rest of the world sees, which is the reality of the situation. That Trump is he's weak, old, stupid, and lazy. He's dying right in front of us. And he doesn't run our government. He does not run our government. I don't know how to make it any clearer. This man does not run our government. And if it isn't clear enough already, this next segment should clear it up for you completely. Mr. Knutson, I'm getting tired of Netanyahu. Is it time to pull the plug on any funding to Israel until they stop being psychopaths? I think boycott until they behave civilized. What is your thoughts? All right. I'll dig into it. For decades, I have been advocating for Palestinian autonomy. But I understand I'm not just your average person that says that. I understand the political dynamics. I understand that the countries around Palestine, the Arab countries around Palestine, use them. They use them as slave labor, basically, indentured servants. They pay them next to nothing. They treat them like shit. Hell, they put them in camps in Jordan. The largest Palestinian camp is not Gaza. It's in Jordan. So no, they're not honest brokers when they show outrage about the plight of the Palestinian people. They aren't. This is a very deeply complex situation. Then you have Israel, and you have the right in Israel, which is, and I don't know how to put this any clearer, as to say they're fucking insane criminals. Netanyahu, Itamar Ben-Gvir, Bezalel Smotrich, these fucking people aren't normal. These are broken fucking toys. They are nuts. You know, I did a show explaining why Netanyahu holds power, and I showed the history of, you know, the narrative, you know, that he was once in special forces, and there's pictures of him standing on a plane in an assault freeing Israeli hostages. You can go back, way back, and watch that. But there is a left in Israel that is not that. They're not. Yes, they're concerned about their own security, but there's a reason there are street signs in Israel in Arabic. There is there are Arabic members of the Israeli government. There is a left in Israel. And I compare it here to the United States. When somebody asks me that question, should we defund Israel? Should we leave Israel to be destroyed? I look at the United States and I say, should the United States be destroyed because of Trump? Because that's what you're asking me. Should the United States be destroyed because of Trump? You're asking me the same question. The left is completely out of power. Everything Trump is doing, should the United States be destroyed because of Trump? And I'm not there yet with Israel. I'm not. I'm not. There are good and decent people in Israel. They're protesting this shit. Netanyahu's facing an uproar today in Israel. It's complicated, man. It's complicated. It's not easy. It's not. This is why we have to elect smart people, people of conscience. We can't elect people. You can't elect rapists, man. You can't elect people with no character. You can't. This is what you do when you do that. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question. I just wanted to give you some insight into my thinking there. But yeah, that's where I'm at on that. It is. But along those lines, this. One second. Got a chat there for a second that I got to take care of. 1 second. I apologize for interrupting the show for it. This is the F-35 a deer. And yes, those are Israeli emblems on it. That's how this attack was carried out. That is how Jordan is claiming, oh no, it didn't happen, because you can't track the fucking plane. There is no radar signatures of that anybody can allude to where they're saying this, this happened. Because we built a plane out of Northrop Grumman that is one of the best sixth generation fighters out there, and we sold them to Israel. And Israel uses them to do things like this. And when you put it in that context, the normal reaction is, okay, this shit's got to stop. That is the normal emotional reaction to that. Is, wait a minute. Now we're doing this shit. This shit has to stop. But it's complicated. Because if you act on that, you're not just throwing Netanyahu to the wolves. You're throwing everybody on the left in Israel to the wolves as well. Kind of like here in the United States. Everybody's looking at Trump saying this shit has to stop. But if you destroy the United States to stop it, you're destroying me too. It's complicated. It really is complicated. Mr. Knutson, thanks, Texas Paul. I've been to Israel 3 times. It's a wonderful place. Let's hope the left can take power and their neighbors are also insane. No easy answers. It really is. I mean, the American media does not give you information. They give you headlines to get clicks. They don't tell you that, the Jordanian forces were beating the shit out of Palestinians just, last year at a border conflict because Palestinians were pissed in Jordan. It's complicated and it's not as clear. It's not as clear as you get on social media. It's rough, man. It is hard. If you're somebody like me that is saying, why the hell do these people not have their own country? There is plenty of land there. There's plenty of land there. You could draw at Israel's southern border, a slightly L-shaped country on the map that is northern Saudi Arabia. It is Egyptian Sinai, all the way to where they can get some fresh damn water where the Palestinians are on the other side, on the eastern portion of of Israel. You can connect those two and make a country. You can. They would have water, they would have ports. It would take negotiations, and it would take acceptance by the Palestinian people that no, they didn't get Israel back, which is a hard one. That's a hard pill for the Palestinians to swallow. It would take leadership and work to make something like that happen, but it could happen. But not with leaders like we have now. It just will not. It just will not. Vincent Day, thanks for keeping us up to date. I do my best. I do my best. Val Marie, can you do me a favor without Googling it? Can you tell me what AIPAC, the acronym, AIPAC is an acronym for? And I'll give you a hint. The PAC does not stand for Political Action Committee. Here's my problem. People talk about AIPAC, and again, it's complicated. AIPAC didn't start when this conflict started. AIPAC's been around forever. And it's something that people that don't know the region, they've been given a little word that they can say. And I'm not attacking you when I say this. I'm not. I'm really not. There's no reason you should know the history of AIPAC. There really is no reason you should know the history of AIPAC. That makes no sense. I mean, why would you? But it's been around since the last century. And to say, okay, everybody that took $1 from AIPAC is now the devil. No, shit changes. It does. I mean, AIPAC hasn't always been the devil. It's complicated, man. It's complicated. George Allen, might they have sold the planes because our old ones are better? Don't know. No, actually, Israel is not. And that's another thing. People are like, oh, Americans give Israel all their capability. That's not true. Israel buys our shit and then they make it better. They do. The Adair is a better plane than the F-35s we're fielding. Glenn Kaneko, the Middle East is full of tribes that hate their neighbors' guts, but they don't remember why. This has been going on for centuries. You know, man, I understand the sentiment there. I do. I understand the sentiment there, but it's not the truth. These conflicts have been going on for a long time, yes, but they're always for different reasons. It's never just, oh, I hate that guy. No, there's something going on. There are people in charge, people in power with differing interests. It's a rich, incredible history. It is. Hell, man, the Mongols once ruled this region. No shit. The Mongols. I mean, it's really, it is, if you ever get the history bug, it is an incredible, I mean, there's so much incredible stuff to talk about. There really is. George, thank you for always being here, brother. Thank you. But yeah, again, along the themes, we've got a pudding-brained president, somebody with mush for brains, who's lazy and stupid and doesn't care about anything but himself. And these things are happening. These events are unfolding. And the world is watching us. You have to acknowledge that everybody's watching this. This is going to make people move away from us because this isn't leadership. This is us making situations worse. This is costing us in the long run. This will take time to fix. This will take time to fix. Oh, man, I hope your coffee's as good as mine. I really do. I really do. That is just keeping me going. Ron Slater, thank you for being here, brother. Thank you. This last one, this will show you more than any of the two stories we've talked about, just how much Trump is not running this government. And I will tell you again, every attack Republicans ever lodge, it's projection. It is always, they want to be racist, so they'll call you a racist. they're attacking Democrats and saying that Biden wasn't in charge. He wasn't running things and this. It's because Trump is not in charge. Trump is not running things. The reason they do that is if you level that attack first, when that reality comes back, your people just roll their eyes. That's just stupid. We said that. They're just being stupid children now. They're just saying the same thing we said. And it works, man. As a political tactic, projection works. It does because of human nature. It insulates your base. Thank you for Dr. E. Thank you for being here, for Darren, for supporting the show. I really appreciate you, brother. I do. Mr. Newton, last good ruler of the Holy Land was Saladin. He was an amazing leader. He really was. He really built universities. He was an incredible leader. He really was. Well, look, we talked a little bit about this, and I told you we would keep track of it and the repercussions of it, because this isn't a small deal. This really isn't a small deal. This was a big deal. We're talking about the ICE raid on the Hyundai LG plant in Georgia. This has blown up. This has blown up. And I mean, it is a big deal. Even the American corporate media is actually now starting to try to tepidly tell the American people what the repercussions of this has been. Yeah. Guess what? Korea didn't dig this. And man, let me go on with it. This is the point of view from the Trump administration. They're saying we're going to do more worksite enforcement operations. He said, talking to Tom Homan, these companies that hire illegal aliens, they undercut the competition that's paying U.S. salaries. Yeah, that's not what this was about. That is not at all. I told you, when these factories are built, when we ask another country, come in, build a factory here and employ American workers, we negotiate that. We force that to happen. We're like, hey, you can have access to our markets, but we want our people to benefit from what you're doing. So build a factory here. That happens all the time, all the damn time. It happens. There's Honda plants. There are, just a lot of different plants all over the place. BMW, Mercedes, they all build plants here. And when they do, they bring in specialists. They do. Because you're going to build a Mercedes, you're going to build it the Mercedes way. And you're going to build it with Mercedes equipment. The equipment they use so that they get a standard product. It just makes sense, right? I mean, that's just the way it works. That's what was happening in this plant. They had a ton of specialists working in this plant that were installing equipment that is out of Korea, and Korea is this was a battery plant. Korea was one of only two nations that make this equipment. They had to be Korean technicians. Skeet said the Hyundai plant invasion will make U.S. a pariah to the rest of the world. Already protests growing at U.S. embassies worldwide. Man, it's worse than that. It really is. It is worse than that. And man, even Jeff Bezos's Washington Post is seeing what is happening here. What the likely response is. This is the pertinent paragraph out of that article. It says episodes like this are going to make many companies way more cautious before investing here, said Giovanni Petty, professor of economics at the University of California, Davis. The goal of this administration's tariffs was luring exactly these kind of factories. And now we're closing the door to some of these companies who fear they won't be able to bring the right workers to set up their plants. I mean, yeah. This is a problem. You know, we talked about this in the last show. I don't mean to beat this horse to death, but yeah, even the corporate media is now starting to realize what we talked about several days ago when we talked about this raid, that this is a problem. And no, it's not just a bunch of illegal aliens. These are technicians. These are advanced employees that they are very, very, very pissed that this happened to. And let me tell you, man, it is not going well. It is not going well. Trump, and this is what I want to highlight for you, Trump is not in control here. Hyundai doesn't just make cars. That's the little part of their business. That is not their longest green. That is not the base of what their country is, their company is and does. Hyundai is heavy industry. That is where they come from. Making cars is a side gig. Those cute little cars they make is not what Hyundai normally does. Hyundai builds ships. Big frickin' ships. I mean, big frickin' ships. Hyundai makes ships. Hyundai makes mining equipment. One second. Oh, honey, thank you so much. But this is not my coffee. I don't drink my coffee with sweetener in it. Ugh. Thank you, though. That was nice of you. I wouldn't drink the coffee that you've got in there because it's likely going to be mine. My wife is so sweet. When I do the show, she brings me a couple cups of coffee during the show. She is something else. She is something else. I love her so much. Every once in a while, she gets the cups backwards. Thank you, baby. Love you. Yeah, Hyundai makes mining equipment. Hyundai competes with Caterpillar. Hyundai competes with, Cabelco and all of these major corporations. They make big shit. They do. And the point of this is, where I'm going with that is that these idiots that did this have no freaking clue what they just did. Hyundai, the Trump administration has been trying to court Hyundai for a long time because Trump really wants to revitalize American shipbuilding. I don't know if you know this, but we're from World War II, where we were squeezing out ships like just popping them one after the other, to now, our shipbuilding industry is gone. It is what it once was and what it is now. We don't build ships. For all intents and purposes, we don't. There are a few shipbuilding corporations here, but as far as world players go, no, we're not a competitor. We aren't. France is, China is, South Korea is. Those are your big three, really. Your cruise ship was built in France. It was. But as far as, American shipbuilding, I mean, we're competing with like Italy. We're not in it to win it. And Trump really, like I said, he's lazy and stupid, but he always wants to look good. Remember, this is a reality TV show. So he has been begging Hyundai, please build a ship here. Build a ship here, please. And Hyundai said, okay. And they're partnering with a company out of Tampa, Florida. This was a $6 billion factory in Georgia that they raided. The investment that was going to come from Hyundai and other companies moving their shipbuilding was going to be 150 billion. You know, you're talking 20 times the amount of investment. And that, as of this morning, is over. Gregory Brown, our credibility is evaporating. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Because there's a reason we're not building ships here. We have systemic problems that prevent us from competing. So when they agreed to build these ships here, we had to agree to adapt. And we're not. We're doing stupid shit like this. This is the idiot responsible. This is the idiot responsible for doing this. This is Tory Branham. She's running for office as a Republican in Georgia. And she thought it was a good idea to call ICE and have these people arrested. And Tom Homan thought it was a great idea to make some headlines. Wait for it. I'm going somewhere with this. Wait for it. I want you to hear it out of her own mouth. She's trying to put the shit back in the horse now because, yeah, people in Georgia are like, you may have just cost us, $6-7 billion factory that was going to be about 8,500 jobs here. And she's taking heat. So she put this out.
So there were 452 illegals apprehended at the Hyundai mega plant construction site yesterday near Savannah. And
I'm going to address these as they come up. Those were not illegals. Many of the people arrested, their documents were in order. Some of the people's documents had fallen out, had timed out. It is a problem of doing business here. When I said that we were going to have to adapt for these countries to move in, this is one of the things we were going to have to fix. Republicans have been fighting us Democrats forever to modernize our Customs and Border Patrol. This is a problem. These workers have to jump through incredible loopholes to be able to work here. It's a fuck ton of paperwork, folks, that they have to constantly keep up with. And it's a problem. It is a problem. I'm going to point this. You're going to see how glaringly it is a problem later. I've got a point that I'm going to make, but I want you to put a pin in that. These were not illegals. These were legitimate workers that were planned to be here, that had been through the system, and some of them didn't have the T's dotted and the I's dotted and the T's crossed on some of their paperwork. But they were not here illegally. They didn't, sneak in at night over the border. They were part of a planned, announced, invited workforce to be here.
I was the one that reported the information that I had to ICE, but it goes beyond just someone working illegally. Let me explain to you. These people are working for slave wages.
Okay, are you about ready to hear the bigotry? Because this is her fucking delusion. Listen to this. See if you can't spot the bigotry here.
Some are not getting paid. Some are being trafficked. They send money home to their country. They give money to their handler. They have hardly anything left.
So she immediately goes that they were being trafficked and they were being, no, these were high-end construction workers, bitch. These weren't scrubs. These were the people that were installing the equipment in factories, the manufacturing equipment in these factories that are only made in fucking Korea. They're the reason. That's why they had to be Korean technicians. But anyway.
Live in homes 5 families deep, have no quality of life.
Yeah, I tell you what, Go out here to West Texas and look at one of the corporate housing areas where American men born and raised in the United States of America, look at the trailers they stay in. That is how corporations do it. They bunk together. This is your bigoted bullshit.
Modern day slavery. So if you think that ICE is just going in and ripping people out of their jobs, these hardworking people that want a better life, well, guess what?
Yeah, that's exactly what they did. You're just fucking stupid.
Politicians have really screwed these people because when they came here, they thought they were.
I agree. The politicians fuck these people. We promised them that we would have their paperwork in order, that everything would be okay, they would be protected here, that they would be safe, that they would be a guest of the United States of America to come in and do a job that we asked them to do.
Hey, the border's open, we're coming in, we're going to get the 5-star treatment.
The border's open. Bitch, they flew here at our invitation. You bigot bitch.
And we can go to the big Walmart and we can live in a 5-star hotel. And that's just not how it is.
No, stupid. They've done this before. They know when their company sends them somewhere, it ain't a fucking 5-star hotel. It's corporate housing. You ignorant bitch. You just cost us hundreds of billions of dollars.
It's very bad conditions, very inhumane. And the Biden administration started a humanitarian crisis. So y'all can't just.
Oh, yeah, Biden did it. It's Biden's fault. It's Joe Biden. Yeah, now look me, Joe Biden. This is all it takes to be elected. This is this stupid bitch. This is all it takes to be elected in fucking Georgia. Give me an AR-15 and I'll say some bigoted shit. I hate the same people you hate. Oh, don't worry about that job you don't have anymore. You might wonder why I'm a little upset about this. This is personal. Folks, this is the Komatsu plant in Longview, Texas. In Longview, Texas. This is the Komatsu plant, where we make really big equipment here, about 45 minutes that direction. Used to be a plant called Laterno that was going out of business. Komatsu bought Laterno. And now they still make those big, beautiful machines here. But when they modernized the facility, guess who came and did it? Japanese workers, Japanese technicians. You know why? Because they said, we're building Komatsus at this plant now. We're going to build them the same way we build them in Japan. Make sense? Yeah. Of course it does. And now we employ a lot of local people. A lot of local people. But hey, this is Korean media. The Korean Economic Daily, Korea's major U.S. investment projects halted as detained LG energy workers set for release. The important paragraph in that article. Sources said that at least 22 other factory sites involving Korean business groups in autos, shipbuilding, steel, and electrical equipment have been nearly halted. Let me put this in a way that everybody can understand again. Even the bigots. I'll use a German company because you don't seem to have a problem understanding it when it's white people. When Mercedes wanted to build their Mercedes here, they didn't come to us and say, America, build us a Mercedes factory. You know why? Because that would have been an American car factory. They wanted to build Mercedes that are identical to what they build elsewhere in the world. So Mercedes came to the United States and built a German factory that works just like a German factory with the same equipment, so that the product that comes out of the factory is exactly the same as what they build everywhere else. Makes sense? Yeah. That's what happens when you ask, rightfully so, smartly, ask other countries into your country to build factories so that your people can benefit from that product. Not just buy it, benefit from it. That's what smart people do. So let's take a look. This is Tom Homan. Tom Homan was the one that just said, they're going to be more raids like this. We're going to crack them down on them people that ain't got them paperworks right. To which every foreign investor has said, oh, really? So what you're telling me is the promises that you made that you would adapt and that you would accommodate our people that are going to build this factory for you so that your people can work here? That promise is bullshit because you won't fix your fucking immigration system? And you make it take 6 months to a year for me to get this shit approved when I'm trying to build a factory now? Let's compare that. I want to introduce you to somebody. This is somebody I just adore her. I do. I have been learning Chinese. And where I started was with Mandarin Megan. Mandarin Megan, Kate Marylight, government functioning at its best. One hand doesn't know what the other is doing. Nobody knows because nobody's running the show. It's a bunch of independent departments doing their own shit. Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, just threatened to beat the shit out of the head of another department because they couldn't get along. Mr. Knudsen, thank you for being here. The average pay of a Korean engineer is about $80K. These specialists sent abroad would be paid more. They will be paid when they get homes so they can go short term to the USA without a work visa. This is why I want Mr. Knudsen, this is why I appreciate you and everyone else that is from our international audience so that you can explain to people the way things work, and it's not just us, it is globally. Dr. E, Darren, thank you for being here, man. Recession, depression equals stagflation. Trump wants to take over the Federal Reserve, which will make things worse because the world will dump our bonds. What is coming is very bad. Yeah, we have to put Democrats back in power. We have to. Let me introduce you to Mandarin Megan. Her name is Mandarin Yushi. Megan Yushi is her name. Stick with me. You'll understand why here in just a second. Let me play a little video for you.
Hi guys, just making a quick video to say a big thank you to all of you for your love and your support, your likes and your comments. I read all of them, by the way, so be Anyway, I created this account about a year ago, back when I was still teaching Chinese online. And when I was doing that, I realized it could be quite overwhelming for a lot of people to start learning Chinese. So that's why I created this account, because I wanted to make learning Chinese more fun and engaging, entertaining for people who are interested. I'm so glad you found me, and I'm so glad that I found you too. Anyway, precisely because I do read all of the comments, so I know a lot of you are curious about what I do outside of TikTok. Also, I get this comment a lot. A lot of you think I'm AI. I don't blame you. Maybe it's the filter. Maybe it's the contact lenses. Who knows? I'll take it as a compliment. Anyway, for those of you who are interested in seeing what I do outside of work to see whether or not I am AI, I do post photos and videos of my daily life on Instagram. To find my account, you can either go.
Okay. This started out on TikTok. No, she is not AI. She's a real person. She is a real person. Is she? Anto says no, she's not AI. She has been around since basically TikTok came to the United States. This is her outside where she worked. Beijing Language and Culture University Press. That's where they make all the textbooks and content like this to export out to the rest of the world. She is real. And yeah, you can go to her Instagram page and she's real. You can tell she's real. You can see, when she doesn't have the makeup on and this, that, and the other. I have always said this about this. As long as I've been involved with politics, I've been telling people about her. This is the way China operates. George Allen, Scott Bessent trying to take someone on seriously. That dude went off. And by the way, he's like 6'4", 6'5". He looks like a dweeb, but if that dude was in a rage, yeah, that'd be a handful to take care of. But look, if you watch her content on TikTok, she is charming. She is funny. I've learned a lot of Chinese from this woman. I really have. She does. She just does short videos where she teaches a couple different Chinese words. Sometimes she'll tell anecdotes about why, we don't say this. Like you say raining cats and dogs, like idioms don't make sense. They would if you said that in China, they would think you're crazy. So you can't just take a translator, use this expression instead. This expression in Chinese means the sentiment you're trying to get across. Where I'm going with this is, when you go to open a factory in China, we've exported a lot of jobs. You want to know why? Because when those American executives showed up over there, Tom Homan wasn't there to fucking greet them. There wasn't a Chinese counterpart to Tom Homan over there. They're not idiots. When our people showed up over there, they were met with people that hired a bunch of people like Megan. Charming, polite, showed you around. This is a great restaurant. Treated you like a freaking king. So if you got a family member that their company does business in China and they're like, got to take another trip to China. Yeah, no. No, they're fucking loving it. They are loving it. They are loving it because China understands you catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. And that's what we're competing against. Other countries get it. Johnny Got Rock shows up in China or India or any of these other countries that we're competing with. Brazil. It's a big thing in Brazil. They invite executives down for Carnival. See a bunch of beautiful Brazilian people, young Brazilian people, damn near butt naked dancing in the street. Other countries understand this. They know how to sell. We're arresting their employees and forcing them to charter planes. to come pick their people up because their people are freaking terrified and bawling and calling their family members saying, please get me out of here. Compare those two things. It matters how we act. It matters. And we can't have stupid bigots like Tory Branham, who's trying to impress her freaking Georgia hillbilly neighbors by calling ICE on them illegals. No, we have got to be smart. We have to put Democrats back in charge. Democrats will do the job. They care because right now we're back in this situation. There was a 1993 movie called Rising Sun with Sean Connery and Wesley Snipes. And in this scene right here, Sean Connery looks to Wesley Snipes and says, we're doing that most American of games. And Wesley Snipes says, what's that? And Sean Connery's character says, catch up. We're playing catch up. You know, we've been through this before. Back in the 80s, the Japanese were kicking our ass. That's why this movie came out in 93 and is focused on Japanese people and the Japanese growth and flexing of their industrial muscle in this country. If you're old as me, you remember when the Corolla came out and the little Honda Civic came out and all these different cars that we couldn't compete with. And then there were situations where like, oh my God, the Japanese are buying our American iconic real estate. They're buying high rises in New York. And then, oh my God. And the Japanese had a retort for that. They said, if America doesn't want us to buy it, don't sell it. We've been through this before. We have been through this before. And we've seen the damage the idiots do. And they're doing it again. They're doing it again. We have to put the smart people back in charge. We do. Things are complicated. Things are never simple. LC, howdy, Texas Paul. I love your topics and your passionate energy. I would like to see a topic on Africa, especially Burkina Faso, and how they've been a pain in the ass to the U.S. and France. Thank you. Yeah, we could do weeks worth of shows on Africa. And there are so many different situations down there in different countries. It is incredible. I mean, everything from Sudan to Congo to, just Gold Coast to, it's all the way down to South Africa. Every region of Africa is a different situation. It's incredible. I appreciate you being here, my friend. I appreciate you being here. Silly Bebo, those Christians forgot about one of Jesus' commandments, do unto others. Yeah. The golden rule, baby. But do you understand? Can you look at the situation and understand? Trump is trying to woo the Koreans to invest $150 billion to build medium-sized liquid natural gas tankers in Tampa. And what a huge frickin' win that would be. At the exact same time, over here, Tom Homan, Customs and Border Patrol, and ICE are arresting Korean workers. Is there any better example that no one is running this show? That no one's checking with Trump for shit? That you've got Nutlick and Scott Bessent over here doing one thing. You got Tom Homan and Stephen Miller doing their thing over here. Everybody's just trying to do a freaking reality television show, what they can do to make their base jerk off the most. Nobody's in charge. Because if somebody was in charge, this would have gone up the flagpole and they would have said, look, we're about to raid a Hyundai plant, boss. This could have some blowback, which would give the administration time to hold a meeting. And they would say, no, don't do that. We're trying to negotiate to get $150 billion in funding. We can handle this situation. We'll send somebody down from immigration to catch these people up on their paperwork. We'll work with these. We promised them we would. We'll work with these companies. That's what competent administrations do. When there's an actual president, somebody to hold people to account. Trump is not going to hold Tom Homan to account for this. He's not. Because the bigot Trump loves it. And Trump isn't smart enough to handle the economic part of it. I mean, hell, he bankrupted damn near every business he ever ran. He's not smart enough to handle the economic part of it. And he's got nuts like Peter Navarro and Howard Nutlick with these radical ass ideas of shifting taxes onto you. Their big dream of implementing a national sales tax through tariffs globally, which, by the way, our European audience is not just Trump. It is not just America doing this to you. It's your billionaires doing this to you, because you notice those tariffs are reciprocal. I'll give you a perfect example. Our people in the UK, before Trump, you had a 1.4% tariff on our goods. We had a 1.2% tariff on your goods. Republicans were losing their damn minds here because that wasn't even. That was a mild negotiation. 0.2%. Guess what it is now? Guess what it is now? 15% on your end, 15% on our end. Yeah. That's a 13.5% sales tax put on you people and us. Because that's what a tariff is. This is just a stealth sales tax on the people. And the oligarchs are like, ooh, boy, we got them to pay them taxes. We don't have to pay them now. That's really happening. And Trump's just sitting there trying to scam some more money off a damn crypto coin, or however he can put some money in his pocket and then go golfing and not have to pay attention to any of this shit. Fred E. Yeah, so I don't think those factories are going to be finished because Asians are pretty sensitive to respect. Those engineers will never come back to finish the work. I will tell you, that is what is going on right now. Thank you. I love the fact that I love you people so much. I really do. Because that is something I didn't touch on. They have to get people to come back. Yeah, you can't just shit an American that can install these pieces of equipment. You can't. That's the idiotic statement Tom Homan put out. Well, now they're going to hire Americans to do it. Really? Really? This is proprietary battery technology out of LG. There aren't any Americans to install this equipment. It's Korean. Will they even give it to you? He's a moron. He's an idiot. He's an idiot that doesn't live in reality. And that is the source of way too many of our problems, people. It's people that don't understand the complexity of situations. There's a reason we have leaders. And I'm going to wrap it up with this. There's a reason we have leaders, and we should choose them carefully. They shouldn't be Marjorie Trader Green, the elevator flatulator. And they shouldn't be Lauren, I can't run a restaurant, Bobert. They should be people that they don't have to be experts in every field. They don't. But they have to be able to understand when a complex situation is presented to them and explained to them so that they can make wise decisions. Let me give you an example. Right now, there are 3 people. One of them hasn't announced, but he will. There are 3 people running for Senate here in the state of Texas. There's Beto O'Rourke, there's Colin Allred, and James Tallarico. Any one of those guys has the intellect. None of them are experts in manufacturing. None of them. But I have met every one of them, and I can tell you, they all have the intellect to sit down in a briefing and have a complex situation explained to them and make the right decision on our behalf. That's what we want in leaders. It matters. It matters. So yeah, people are like, Paul, you just in the tank for Democrats. You goddamn right I am. You damn right I am. Look at these Republican culture war morons that say the stupidest shit and can't understand complex situations at all, versus dozens and dozens and dozens, hell, hundreds of Democrats that you've never heard of, that just go to work every day, get the briefings, understand the briefings, make the decision based on what's good for the country. Hell, you damn right I'm in the tank for Democrats. Yeah, Skeet's there. Just look at RFK Jr. This guy's been nothing but a grifter. Nothing but a grifter. And they elevate him to leadership. That cannot be. The country won't survive it. Lester Lewis, if I'm correct, and if you don't, there is a system in Japan where corporations that are independent corporations work together to win. They work in, Hyundai and LG would be an example. It's not Japanese, but in Japan, this is where the system comes from. It's called the Keiretsu system. These companies will work together to win, to benefit each other and win. They cooperate together. This is what he's talking about. If I'm Keiretsu, they have a thing called, called in the Asia community. I think it may have started in Japan. It did. What will happen is we will find ourselves with the Asian community coming together and deciding to not work with us because we are so. Yeah. 100%. 100%. 100% true. That is exactly what the point of this show was. Folks, I hope this has been useful for you. I'm sorry I went a little bit long, but these are important topics that we have to talk about. And we have to talk about them in a way that is more than just the superficial shit that people get in the headlines. We've got to. You people, I'm going to say it one last time. You people that are in this show, that are listening to these conversations, folks, most Americans can't. They can't. They can't do it. A lot of Americans just don't have the capability, but hell, most Americans are just so tied up in other shit. They don't have the hour and a half to 2 hours to sit with us to do this. So we've got to actively go out and find people like you that can get these complex subjects, that can understand them, that you can break them down into small sound bites and explain them to people and feed them to people that either can't be troubled to be involved with this or just mentally can't. They're not there. They can't just, come on. We all know somebody that can't handle a complex situation. We do. So I'm begging you, I'm asking you, hit the subscribe button so that we can keep having these conversations, and hit the thumbs up button so that this is about to go into replay. This is about to go into replay. As many people as possible, this will be recommended to because you hit the thumbs up button. Let's build this community as big as we possibly can so that we can do things like get leaders that are smart and capable. So, Texas Paul, enjoy some Texas cities at night.